Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Hospitable Host podcast. Today we are speaking with Ehab from the Rehab with Ehab Academy, and we'll learn about his 60 plus property business, how he manages it with Hospitable, and how he's teaching new property investors how to thrive in the short-term rental space. Okay, hello Ehab. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Oh, doing great, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, as I say. So, Ehab, we've done a little bit of an introduction, but tell us about yourself. Let us know your background. How did you get into short-term rental in the first place?
Yeah. So my background was working in IT, kind of a full-time IT person, and now I've transitioned to full-time real estate in 2019. Kind of always had a passion for real estate and the financial freedom that it brings. And so that kind of got me interested early on in my 20s and really was on a journey for many years to try to figure out how to get there and what the right strategy was. And ultimately found my way there when I got into my 40s with short-term and mid-term rentals.
Nice. Okay. And what does your portfolio look like today? How many properties are you managing, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I have. I just added a few more, so I think I'm up to about 68 units right now that we manage. A lot of our clients and myself have multifamily properties that they've converted into short-term and mid-term rentals. It's something I'm really excited about, and I'm doing a lot of right now. And of course, we have houses in there and a variety of different properties in our portfolio, but growing fast, and a lot of people are getting into short-term rentals.
Nice, awesome. And obviously, we've kind of got you on not just talk about, your property management business, but also Rehab with Ehab and the academy that you have there. Can you maybe just kind of give us the elevator pitch of what the academy is and what it's all about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the a lot of people are who are on the same journey that I was on for financial freedom and, have a hard time figuring out what's the right strategy to get there because there's flipping, there's wholesaling, there's all these different things you hear about on YouTube University. And I think people are on that journey to figure out what is the path that actually gets them there. And when I figured it out and it changed my life, I decided I wanted to put together a program, the reason we have to help others figure out not only what is the right strategy, but how to properly execute on that strategy too. So we put together the academy. We have about 120 students in it, and we're helping business professionals really create that extra income. And ultimately, if they want to, go full time into real estate to make this their business and their life.
Nice, awesome. And what does kind of the academy look like, I guess? What's the kind of content and things that you're putting in there to kind of help them, learn and take that step of potentially becoming, full-time investor and short-term rental host?
Yeah. So, I mean, we really have thought through all the different pitfalls and all of the step-by-step instruction that you need. So we start with, the beginning of how to find the right deals, how to analyze, how to underwrite them. We do all of that training through kind of online modules, everything from managing your rehabs, managing contractors, and then ultimately operating them as successful short-term and mid-term rental businesses. So we have this online training component to it. We also have weekly group coaching calls that we do with our students. We have an awesome Facebook community. And actually, the number one thing we just added to the academy was we found that people were having a hard time being accountable for doing the work. And you get busy in life, you have a job, you have a family. So we actually added an accountability program where one of the coaches in our group holds people accountable every week to make sure they're putting in the work and staying on track with their goals, because we're not going to let people get off track.
Nice, I love that. Keeping them accountable. That's very handy. So I'd love to kind of understand as well, kind of think about those hosts that are. I mean, obviously you're looking at tons of different investment strategies, but for those new investors, what would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to short-term rentals specifically?
Yeah. Probably one of the biggest ones is that you can just take any property, furnish it, and be successful as a short-term rental. The reality of it, the market has gotten a lot more competitive. And the people that are really surviving and thriving in this market are the people that take this seriously like a business. And so they've invested time in making really cool properties. They've invested effort into creating systems so that their guests can have great customer experiences. They have the right automation, the right tools, property management systems, pricing systems, all of the right components that you need to really, make this a business rather than just kind of a hobby. And I think that's probably the biggest misconception that people have.
Nice. Okay. And so do you think that's kind of one of the traits that you see in successful students is kind of, I mean, you've kind of already mentioned accountability and really kind of focusing on it as being, something that they really should focus on versus just being a hobby. Is that something that kind of stands out? I just kind of want to understand what are some of the kind of key traits or mindsets of someone that ends up being successful short-term rental host versus someone that's going to struggle for years to come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things I tell all my students is that there's really no business you can start that doesn't have problems, So when you're getting into owning short-term rentals and really doing it the right way of creating a business, you just need to expect to have problems because that's what business is. And so we help people with the mindset, and we certainly help them with the problem solving to overcome the problems that they have. So I think the mindset component that we really teach, because ultimately what we do and what we earn is a reflection of who we are as people. So we spend a lot of time on mindset. But then the other thing that we really do well is really educate our students on what makes great short-term rentals. And part of that process is actually putting them in touch with our interior designers that we use, our architects that we use. We'll do meetups so that students can see other short-term rentals within the program or within the community. So really try to check all the boxes from people who are visual learners to people who want to just understand all the basics and the nuts and bolts, and even giving them the team so that they can really be as successful as possible.
Nice. Okay, I love that. And maybe just kind of focusing back towards your property business in itself. Is there any kind of big lesson learned along the way and big kind of aha moment that you think that you would want to share with other hosts that are maybe just starting out? Like, what's the one thing that you didn't know going in that you wish you did know?
Definitely one of the big aha moments is, I was really surprised with how lucrative short-term and mid-term rentals are from a cash flow perspective versus my previous properties that I owned were just single-family home long-term rentals. So that was exciting to see the amount of cash flow that's there. It is definitely more work. So as I grew, one of the things that was a bit of a surprise was how much extra work is required to do this the right way. And you're really held to the reviews that you get, and that really ultimately will dictate how successful you'll be in this business. And so if you don't take the time to really create the systems and the processes and start hiring people, I think probably earlier on than what people might expect, because you are making good cash flow with short-term rental rentals, you have the ability to hire people, I think, a little bit sooner. And you don't want to wait too long to start bringing in good virtual assistants or bringing in your in-house cleaning team so you can really control the cleaning, because those are things, again, that are really make or break your short-term rental business.
Nice, that makes sense. And then kind of talking about that process of hiring new people and also bringing in the right software, obviously. When did you decide to bring on a tool like Hospitable? Were you using another property management software before? At what kind of property count level did you go, I really need a solution to help me here?
Yeah, the way I started this whole business was working a full-time consulting job, which had me traveling Monday through Thursday, like a lot of consultants do. So for me, number one, it put me in the mindset of, let me create systems, because I'm a systems kind of guy in everything that I do with my career, my business. But also I needed systems to be able to operate my business, because I was either flying in the air, traveling to a client site, or I had a job from 8 to 5 or sometimes 8 to 8, depending on our projects. So actually from the very beginning, I made a point to do the research and understand what were the tools that I needed to automate this business as much as possible. So, property management system, automated pricing, dynamic pricing, kind of the fundamental smart messaging, which is, was a big thing back then. And now has turned into, full-blown property management systems like Hospitable. And so those are the things that I knew from early on. I wanted to systematize this so that this could be something I could do while working my full-time job.
Nice, that makes sense. And how about that choice of Hospitable? How did it come about that you chose Hospitable as that property management software solution? What was the if you can think back, what was the final thing that kind of made you kind of make you commit to a subscription with us versus competitive?
Yeah. So I mean, I was using some other products out there, and you know, the first product I ever used, I outgrew. They got acquired, and then their requirements were that you need to be 3 or under Airbnbs or short-term rentals to be on their
Mm.
platform. And I think at the time I had maybe like 35. So I quickly, outgrew what they were offering. I switched to a different one and was really disappointed with, just the tools that they had and a lot of bugs in the system. You don't really think about that still happening nowadays with technology and everything being so important. But no, I mean there are systems out there that are buggy, that will allow double bookings to occur on your calendar, which is a disaster, to call Airbnb and have to get those canceled. So it was actually my students who recommended Hospitable to me. They said, you really need to look into this one, and I did and tried it out. I think I had a call with you guys, and at the time I had 60 plus listings, and I said, can your platform handle my business? And it's been great so far.
Awesome, I love to hear it. That's great.
Yeah.
So we've got your community to thank.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, and that, yeah, definitely all thanks to my community on that one.
Nice. And then tell me maybe a bit more about, how it fits into your day-to-day operations. Is there anything in Hospitable that kind of is a standout feature for you and the team that would absolutely rave about?
Yeah, I mean, so I have my VAs that really are in Hospitable, on a day-to-day basis, and I love a lot of the KPIs that are there in Hospitable. It makes it easy for me. This morning, even I was going in there and I was looking at kind of the dashboard and the inquiries that we had, and one of the things I was doing was looking at how my team was responding to those inquiries. Like, why haven't we been able to convert these people into sales, into guests, right? And so that was actually something I looked at today, and was kind of making notes in terms of how we were responding and how we needed to improve our responses to really answer the questions better that our prospective guests were asking us. So there's a lot of features in there that are robust, that let you have insight into your business. Besides just the obvious stuff that I go into all the time, which is kind of looking at, the calendar and looking at our revenue and making sure that, we're staying booked and doing a good job for our clients as well.
Nice, love it. And then you've already kind of gone over some good tips for folks starting out, and obviously people can go and check out the academy to really get lots more insight from you. But if you had to give someone just starting out with short-term rentals just one piece of advice, what would you say it would be? You could try and pinpoint that.
Yeah. I would say invest in great design, because it's going to pay dividends. If you don't, it's really going to be kind of the only thing you're going to be competing on with your competition is price. And you don't want to be in that category. So flex your creative muscles, hire a great designer, or if you already have that talent, then, be as creative and thoughtful as you can, while putting yourself in your guest's shoes and delivering on what you would want as a guest as well. So that would probably be my number one advice.
Nice. That's great. And then just kind of swinging back to Rehab with Ehab, what's the plans there? Are you looking for more people to join the academy? Are you looking to expand at all? Tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, Rehab also came about from my community, who a student of mine said, your name's Ehab and you do rehabs, so you have to call yourself Rehab. And I said, yeah, that is a great idea. So I ran with it, and we're passionate about helping people live the life that they want to live. And I wish people could just put themselves in my shoes for a day and experience entrepreneurship to its fullest, because it's not only financially rewarding, but it's emotionally rewarding, mentally rewarding. Just the the problem solving that you do every day really kind of elevates you as a human being, as a person, and it elevates your self-esteem, it elevates your mood, it elevates your ability to believe in yourself, so there's just so many great things that come from entrepreneurship, and we're passionate about helping people navigate their way, through that journey, and ultimately being as successful and as big as they want their businesses to grow.
Nice. That's amazing. So I think one final easy question for you, Ehab, is where do people go to find out more about the Academy if they want to join up and learn more from you?
Yeah, www.rehabrehab.com. Just in the name. And also follow me on Instagram, Rehab. I think I pretty much have the market on that. Although, the funny part about Rehab is a lot of times when I tell people that, they think I'm selling kind of like a drug rehab program. So it's not drugs.
Love it.
But it's
okay. So rehabwithehab.com. Nowhere else. That's the place to find out more. Sweet.
That's right.
Love it. Okay. Thank you very much, Ehab. That's been fantastic chatting with you. Thank you for sharing all your tips. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode with Ehab, please don't forget to like and share, and listen out for our next podcast episode dropping real soon.